Yeah, so the organization that I co-founded with my co-founder Rachel Chung was Strut Safe. We were founded back in March after, unfortunately, the death of Sarah Everard in that aftermath. Because I think we, along with so many people across the UK, felt this palpable frustration and anger that women can't seem to do something as simple as walk home without risk of harassment, attack, murder. And so we wanted to put something tangible in place to try and support people across the country. And it started with just walking people home in Edinburgh, which is where we're based. And then we expanded across the UK as a phone only service. So if you're walking home and you feel unsafe, and we're not just there for women, we're there for anybody who wants to call us, but it is primarily women who get in touch with us. And we'll stay on the phone with you and we'll attempt to reassure you and we'll be someone there so you don't feel so alone. And if something happens, we're a contact there as well.
But one wonders how, even with a service like that, you could possibly have envisaged a police officer stopping somebody at 9 o'clock at night, not that late, and saying, I want to arrest you because you've broken COVID rules, handcuffing her behind her back, putting her in a vehicle, driving her for 2 hours. The terror that she must have felt in that time, raping her in a vehicle and then killing her with his police belt.
I
Unbelievable.
know it's so gruesome and so heartbreaking. And I think aside from the anger that I think we all feel, like you say, it's just such a heartbreaking thing to reflect on. And I don't know, I'm sure you've read the statement from Sarah's mother, in which she reiterates some of these same things. But it's unfortunately it is an abuse of power, and I think unfortunately there is people don't feel safe with these authorities because, um, like you said, it was a police officer that stopped her that abused his power as a police officer, and there's so I think we've been reflecting so much about how it could have been any one of us. And the fact is that it was one of us. Every time that the 101 women who have died at the hands of male violence since the death of Sarah Everard, who perhaps we haven't had that same energy and outrage and uproar for, it was one of us every time. And in conditions as gruesome and as tragic as hers. And that's not to take away from what happened to Sarah, of course, but it really makes you reflect. And as an organization, we're trying to be there for as many people as we can. But obviously, our resources are limited compared to an institution like the government. And I think there needs to be fundamental institutional change to protect women, to protect marginalized groups, because unfortunately this will keep happening. And I think there's a societal problem as well in the way that men see women, and often the way in which women's lives are viewed as expendable. And I think we need to have we need to do a lot of work to reform the way in which women are viewed in society from a young age.
Sure, there are apps available, of course, that can basically walk you home. A call centre as a live app on your phone. You can call people if you need them. Those are coming on stream all the time. But what's your advice to women, particularly who are listening this morning, about how to try to keep that little bit safer when they're potentially walking home, or even getting out of their car at night on their own?
I think it's so difficult to offer that advice because so many women live in the knowledge that whatever precautions you might take, whether it's calling a friend, whether it's calling Strut Safe, whether it's keeping your keys between your fingers, whether it's picking a different route, whether it's only a short walk, only 5 minutes across a park, which was the walk that Sabina Nessa took and unfortunately didn't survive. Um, Whatever advice I might offer, whatever advice any of us might offer, I don't think it's enough, because sometimes all it's doing is saying, make sure he attacks the other girl. Make sure it's not me. And whatever precaution you might take, like you say, at 9 p.m. in the evening, it's not so late that nobody's about. Is it going to be enough? And I don't say that to put any responsibility on women. I say that to put the responsibility on the people who attack and kill these women. because it's their responsibility, and women should never, ever be made responsible for the actions that are committed against them.